Navy SEAL asked her rank as a joke. The entire base went silent when she answered so, sweetheart. Since we're all getting acquainted, what's your rank? Or is that classified too? The question cuts through the briefing room like a blade dragging across metal. Chief Petty Officer Marcus Dolan doesn't wait for an answer. He's already turning to the men flanking him, already wearing the grin of someone who knows the crowd is his. Behind him, 22 Navy SEALs from SEAL Team 7 fill the rows of folding chairs at Naval Amphibious Base Coronado, their eyes tracking the exchange with the particular stillness of men who know how to watch without looking like they're watching. The briefing room smells of gun oil, stale coffee, and the particular institutional cleanliness that never quite covers the older smell underneath. The smell of a place where hard things get decided. The fluorescent lights above cast no shadows. The AC hums at a pitch that lives just beneath conscious hearing. Through the high windows, the California coastline is bright and indifferent. She doesn't look up. Her name is Sarah Cole, 31 years old. 5'6". Her uniform is pressed regulation, dark and crisp, but bare of any rank insignia beyond the subdued patch of a government contractor. Her hair is pulled back in a regulation bun, not a strand displaced. She is seated at the side table with a laptop open and a stack of mission briefing packets arranged with the kind of mechanical precision that is either obsessive or trained. And there is a meaningful difference between those two things, if you know how to read it. She doesn't look up. She inputs a command string. Her fingers move across the keyboard without hesitation, without reference to a manual or a screen prompt. 11 keystrokes in 2.3 seconds. In the third row from the back, a man named Raymond Holt stops writing. Master Chief Raymond Holt is 61 years old. 34 years of Navy service, the last 12 of which were spent in places that don't appear on any map and doing things that will never appear in any record. His face is the kind of face that has been still long enough to forget how to be surprised. He is here in a nominally administrative capacity, an oversight role. The kind of role given to men who know too much to be sent anywhere dangerous and too much to be kept anywhere comfortable. He has been sitting in the back row for 20 minutes, with a pen in his hand and a legal pad in his lap, and he has not written a single word since she sat down. He has been watching her hands. Dolan is still grinning. Didn't catch that, miss. What was the rank again? She closes the laptop, sets both palms flat on the tabletop, looks up at him for the first time. Her eyes are the particular shade of gray that makes people feel, inexplicably, that they are the ones being assessed. Higher than yours, sir, she says. You just don't know it yet. Then she opens the laptop again. A beat of silence. Then one of the SEALs in the second row exhales a short laugh. Then another. The room loosens. Dolan's grin widens. This is what he does. This is his element. You can hear it in how his voice carries. And he says, "Well, gentlemen, I think we've found our mascot." And the room rewards him, which is exactly what rooms do when the man who controls the environment gives them permission. In the back row, Raymond Holt's pen has still not moved. He sets it down. He looks at her hands on the keyboard. He looks at the way she held the laptop closed, the specific grip, the angle of the wrist, the pressure of the forearm, and something goes very still behind his eyes. Something that is not surprise, because Raymond Holt stopped being surprised 20 years ago, but which is the thing that comes before certainty. The penultimate step. The moment before a veteran's instincts stop being feelings and start being facts. He knows that grip. He's only seen it at one school. The kind of school where admission isn't requested. It is assigned. The kind of school that doesn't exist on any official curriculum. He picks his pen back up. But he doesn't write. The morning brief begins at 0800. By 0823, she has been called sweetheart twice, missed 3 times, and the lady from it once by Dolan, who is leading the brief, and who has apparently decided that her presence in the room is either an administrative error or a very good joke that hasn't reached its punchline yet. She is a technical contractor. This is what the paperwork says. Her clearance level is listed as secret. Her contractor ID identifies her as an asset from a federal technology consulting group, whose letterhead is real, whose office is real, whose switchboard answers correctly if you call it, and which has not performed a single day of genuine technology consulting in 11 years. She knows this because she set the cover 3 months ago. She takes notes throughout the brief in a legal pad. Precise, shorthand, unhurried. When Dolan puts up the operational map for the next training exercise, she pauses with her pen over the paper for exactly 2 seconds, then writes something. In the back row, Holt watches her pause. He's been at enough operational briefings to know what a 2-second pause over a map means in someone who actually understands what they're looking at. It means she saw a problem. It means she's deciding whether to say anything. She doesn't say anything. She finishes the note. She returns her eyes to the front of the room, and her face holds the same expression it has held since she walked in 41 minutes ago. Present, attentive, and almost entirely elsewhere. After the brief, the room disperses toward the training floor. She stays behind, repacking the briefing packets with the same mechanical precision. 3 SEALs pass close to the side table. One of them, a young specialist named Barrow, 24 years old, hasn't fully worked out whether he's in on the joke or being made one of, and his attempt at solidarity comes out as something in between. "Don't take it personal," he says. Dolan's like that with everyone. She zips the laptop bag. "I know, he's actually good at his job," she says. Yes, Barrow stares at her for a moment. Then he leaves. In the back row, Holt is still sitting. He doesn't move until she does. By noon, the story has traveled the distance that stories travel in a closed environment. It has been improved in transit, the way stories always are. By the mess hall version, she tried to pull rank and Dolan shut her down publicly. By the group chat version, she cried. Neither of these things happened, but they are more satisfying than what actually happened, which was that she said 8 words and returned to her work, and the only person in the room who understood what the 8 words meant was a 61-year-old man in the back row who had not said a single thing. She eats alone at a corner table. The mess hall seats 200. It is running at roughly 60% capacity. She has selected the table with the widest sight lines to the 3 entry points, the best angle to the command staff table, and the least traffic. She is eating something that tastes approximately like institutional chicken and watching the room with the patience of someone performing a function that looks nothing like what it is. She notes who sits with whom. She notes who defers to whom when the senior ranking officers aren't watching. She notes the 2 men at the 3rd table from the right, who have not spoken directly to each other in the 11 meals she has observed, but who maintain the specific studied casualness of men who are managing the fact that they have spoken extensively elsewhere. She notes that one of them checks his phone at 12:04, then the other checks his phone at 12:06, and neither of them looks at the other while they do this. She controls her breathing. 4 in, hold 4. 4 out, hold 4. She is 3 months into this. She has been patient for this long. She can be patient a little longer. The chicken tastes like institutional efficiency and nothing else. At 14:30, Dolan finds a new setting for the performance. The training floor is running a weapons familiarization exercise, a dozen sales cycling through a disassembly and reassembly sequence on the M110 semi-automatic sniper rifle. She has been asked to observe and document the exercise times. This is not what she is doing. She is observing Dolan, cataloging his movements against the intelligence she has been building since month 2, watching the way he manages the room and who he manages it toward. He notices her watching. He has noticed that she's difficult to provoke and has decided to escalate the methodology. "Hey, tech support," he says, loud enough to carry. "Come show us what you know." She sets the clipboard down. She walks to the station. The SEAL at the station, a broad-shouldered operator named Petrov, steps back with the expression of a man genuinely unsure whether he is witnessing something that is about to go badly. She picks up the M110. Her hands find it the way hands find something they have handled 10,000 times, not reaching for it, but receiving it. The angle of the wrists settling into a specific technical grip that does not come from a manual, that does not come from familiarization exercises, that comes from a place and a program that most people in this building will never hear of. The rifle disassembles in her hands in a sequence that is not the basic sequence and not the intermediate sequence. It is the sequence taught at a school whose name does not appear on publicly available curricula. 4 seconds. In the back doorway of the training floor, Raymond Holt's jaw tightens. The room is quiet. Not the polite quiet of people being careful. The quiet of people who have just seen something they cannot immediately categorize. Dolan recovers first. He's good at recovering. "Nice trick," he says. "Party piece for contractor girls." He turns back to his men, and his posture says, "Nothing to see here, we're moving on, this is still my room." She reassembles the rifle, sets it back on the station, picks up the clipboard. She controls her breathing. 4 in, hold 4, 4 out, hold 4. In the back doorway, Holt has taken out his phone. He is sending a message to someone. His face is very still. The kind of still that, in a man who spent 34 years doing the things Raymond Holt spent 34 years doing, means certainty has arrived and calculation has begun. He knows who she is. He doesn't know why she's here, but he knows who she is. And that means this base, and everyone on it, is either about to become very safe or very sorry. And the answer to which one depends on something that has nothing to do with Dolan. The formal action comes at 16:45. The basis is a credential irregularity. Her contractor identification does not match the system records in the base security database, which is technically true. The system the base uses to verify contractor credentials is current as of 8 months ago. Her cover was built into the system 9 months ago and quietly removed 4 months ago when she entered the phase of the operation that required her presence on base. The discrepancy is intentional. It is the tripwire. She knew they'd find it eventually. She did not know it would be Dolan who pulled it. He pulls it with the satisfaction of a man who has been looking for a specific tool and has finally found the right drawer. He has 2 senior NCOs with him, and they come to the side office where she has been working since 1530, and they do everything correctly. Because Dolan is not incompetent. He is arrogant and wrong, which is a different category from incompetent and considerably more dangerous to himself. "We're going to need to verify your credentials," he says, not a request. His arms are crossed like he owns not just this base, but the entire Pacific Fleet. She closes the laptop. She does not look alarmed. She looks, if anything, mildly interested. "Of course," she says. They take her laptop, her badge, her contractor ID. They do not take her watch. Nobody ever thinks to take the watch. The holding room measures 9 feet by 11. concrete walls painted a shade of institutional cream that has been failing to stay cream since approximately 1987. A metal bench runs along one wall. A window near the ceiling shows a strip of California sky, blue, bright, entirely indifferent. The room smells of industrial disinfectant, and the older smell underneath it, which is the smell of small rooms where people have waited for things they couldn't control. She sits on the metal bench. She controls her breathing. 4 in, hold 4, 4 out, hold 4. This is the near-fail moment. The point where anyone watching from the outside would think she's finished. Caught. Credentials pulled. Laptop confiscated. Sitting in a holding room on a base where the senior operator just publicly made her a joke. From the outside, it looks like game over. Except games have rules. And she's about to show them they've been playing the wrong game entirely, in a facility built and secured, ultimately, by the same chain of authority that she has spent 3 months documenting, protecting, and building a case for. She checks her watch. In 23 minutes, her handler will flag that her operational check-in has been missed. In 41 minutes, a protocol she initiated 6 weeks ago will activate automatically. A file transfer that will push a specific packet of intelligence to 4 terminals simultaneously, including one at the Pentagon and one at JSOC. In approximately 2 hours and 17 minutes, Dolan is going to understand the difference between a credential irregularity and a classified operation. And then he is going to understand something considerably more personal about the specific woman he chose to make a joke out of in front of 22 Navy SEALs. He initiated his own undoing when he pulled her badge. She planned it that way. The sun moves in its strip of window. She waits with the patience of someone who has waited in worse rooms for longer periods, doing harder things. This is not even the most uncomfortable she has been on this operation. She does not fidget. She breathes. The first crack appears at 18:19. Raymond Holt stops Dolan in the corridor outside the command suite. He does this quietly, without performance, without an audience, which is how Holt does everything, and which is the opposite of everything Dolan does. Holt speaks in a voice that carries exactly as far as it needs to, and no further. "I'd be very careful about this one," he says. Dolan's eyes narrow. "You know her?" Holt looks at him for a long moment. "I know what I saw on the training floor. Party piece," Dolan says. "She's a contractor. So was half the people I served alongside in places I still can't name," Holt says. "Walk carefully. That's all." Dolan considers this for approximately 2 seconds, which is the amount of time his confidence allows for contrary information before reclassifying it as irrelevant. "Appreciate the input, Master Chief." He walks away. Holt watches him go. His face does not change. He takes out his phone and sends a second message. They arrive at 18:32. 4 vehicles, not standard transport. Command birds, the kind of vehicles that don't use the main gate, that don't stop at checkpoints, that have a particular silhouette in the late afternoon light that every career military person on this base recognizes and responds to in the same way, which is by going very still and straightening in a way that is not entirely voluntary. 3 vehicles carry personnel. The 4th carries nobody. It is the 4th vehicle, the empty one, that makes the base's senior staff go quiet as they watch from the command suite windows. Because an empty command vehicle means someone is expected, and expected at a level that merits a vehicle of its own. Dolan is in the command suite. He sees them arrive. His face cycles through something, starts at confidence, passes through confusion, and arrives somewhere new. Not theatrical quiet. Real quiet. The kind that comes before a man understands something large and irrevocable. 2 federal agents. A brigadier general in service dress and a woman in civilian clothes who carries a leather folio stamped with a classification designator that stops 2 of the base's senior staff mid-conversation and makes the third physically take a step back. They move through the base with the purpose of people who have done this before and will do it again, and who have nothing to prove by their pace. They know where the holding room is. They were told before they arrived. The door opens at 1841. She looks up. She does not stand immediately. She takes in the 4 people in the doorway, the agents, the general, the woman with the folio, and her expression completes a calculation that is not visible to anyone watching except, perhaps, Raymond Holt, who has appeared in the corridor behind them and who is watching through narrowed eyes with the expression of a man watching something arrive that he called 3 hours ago. She stands, 41 minutes early, she says. The general says, "Your handler doesn't wait well." "Neither do I," she says. They move into the corridor. The woman with the folio walks beside her. She is already talking, low, rapid, the condensed operational update of someone with 18 minutes of information to convey in 4. The agents fall behind. They are not here for conversation. They are heading to the command suite. The command suite holds 14 people when they arrive. Dolan, his senior NCOs, the base's executive officer, 3 station commanders, a legal officer, and 4 administrative staff who are about to witness something they will describe, accurately, for the rest of their careers as one of the most important things they ever saw in a room. She walks in behind the general. Dolan sees her walk in. His eyes track to the credentials being carried, to the general, to the federal agents, to the folio. His jaw tightens. His pen stops moving. His face cycles through surprise, denial, and something that lives past both of those things. Something that looks, in the specific way that a man's face looks when 3 months of arrogance are leaving his body at speed, like genuine fear. The general sets a document on the command suite table. The document is stamped classified red. Above the classification stamp is a secondary designation that no one in the room is cleared to see except for 3 people, and one of those 3 people is standing to the general's left. She is not wearing the contractor ID anymore. She does not need it. "I need everyone's full attention," the general says. He does not raise his voice. He doesn't need to. At 0800 this morning, Chief Petty Officer Dolan and individuals under his command impeded, publicly derided, and formally detained a federal officer conducting a classified internal investigation at this installation. The investigation is ongoing and will not be discussed in this room. What I am here to do is to make one thing absolutely clear to everyone present. He looks at each face in the room. He takes his time. The individual detained this afternoon is Commander Sarah Cole, JSOC Special Activities Division, classification level above everyone in this room, including myself. Commander Cole's assignment to this installation for the past 3 months has been authorized at the highest level of this command structure. Every access she required, she had. Every credential she carried was exactly what it represented. Silence. The kind of silence that has weight and texture and sound. Someone's chair scrapes concrete. A badge, clipped to a lanyard too loosely, swings against a filing cabinet and makes a small, sharp sound. The ACOM is suddenly very loud. The general raises his hand in a salute. Precise, deliberate, the kind of formal military respect that carries 3 decades of earned authority in the angle of a wrist. He holds it. The woman with the folio raises her hand. The brigadier general from the 2nd vehicle raises his hand. The base's executive officer raises his hand. Then both federal agents. Then, in the doorway, Raymond Holt, who does not raise his hand because he has been ordered to, who raises his hand because he has known for 3 hours and he is choosing, now, in this moment, in front of these people, to make the choosing visible. His salute is steadier than anyone else's in the room. His face carries something that is not quite pride and not quite grief, the specific expression of a man watching something be recognized that he has known for a long time should have been. The room counts 14 people. 12 of them are saluting. Dolan is not one of them. Dolan's arm does not move. His face has stopped cycling. It has found a landing point, and it is staying there. The expression of a man understanding in full what he has done and who he did it to, and what that is going to mean for every remaining day of a career that is, as of this moment, effectively over. His eyes move to her. He cannot look away. There is something in the looking that is not quite contrition and not quite apology, but which is, in its own way, the most honest thing he has expressed since 0800 this morning. She meets his eyes. She holds the look for 3 seconds. Then she looks away. She does not celebrate. She is already somewhere else. Already thinking about 1900, about the files on 3 men who are still active and still here, about the names she has not yet been able to confirm, about the surveillance data from Bahrain that arrived yesterday and which she still needs to cross-reference. "Commander Cole," the general says. "The floor is yours." She steps to the table. She opens a file. She gets to work. There is a moment, in the formal proceedings that follow, that does not appear in any official record and will not. It happens in the corridor outside the command suite while the legal officer is beginning the formal documentation process, and the administrative staff are being relocated, and Dolan is being walked through the first in a series of conversations that will, over the next 72 hours, require him to account for every decision he has made in the past 3 months. Holt is standing in the corridor. She stops. She looks at him. He looks at her. "The M110 grip," he says. "Yes," she says. "The authentication sequence." "Yes," he nods once. The kind of nod that, in a man of his experience, contains everything it needs to. 312, he says, her call sign, the one she was issued 8 years ago. The one that appears in classified reports from operations in places whose names are still redacted. The one that a very small number of men who were in very specific places at very specific times have reason to recognize. She looks at him for a moment. "You stayed quiet," she says. "You could have said something this morning. Wasn't my place to say it," he says. "It was the right call." "I know," he says. She continues down the corridor. He watches her go. His expression holds the thing that is not quite pride and not quite grief, and he stays there a moment in the corridor with the sound of proceedings coming through the command suite walls and the AC humming and the California evening doing what California evenings do, indifferently, beyond the high windows. He picks up his pen. He starts to write. By 2100, the formal action is complete. Dolan and 2 of his senior NCOs are on administrative hold pending investigation. The legal officer has processed the initial documentation. The 2 men at the mess hall's 3rd table from the right. The 2 who had not spoken to each other in 11 meals, but whose phone check-ins were separated by exactly 2 minutes, have been escorted off the installation by the federal agents for a conversation that will be conducted elsewhere, at a level Dolan never had clearance to know existed. She is in the small office they have assigned her. The window shows the Pacific, darkening now toward full evening, the horizon going from blue to orange to the particular deep purple that happens for approximately 7 minutes before full dark. The water holds light longer than the sky does. She knows this because she has watched a great many horizons from a great many windows in a great many places, and the Pacific has always been patient with the light. Her watch reads 21:08. She has a coffee that tastes better than the chicken did. She has a legal pad filled with notes and 3 files open on the laptop they have returned to her, and the beginning of the debrief report she will file in the morning. She has 14 things to do before she sleeps, and she will do all 14 of them, because that is how she works, and how she has always worked. They asked her rank this morning as a joke. They forgot she outranked their corruption. She sets the coffee down. She opens the 4th file, the one she has been working on for 6 weeks, without enough data to close. The one that, as of tonight's intelligence from the 4th vehicle, has 4 new data points but still 1 missing name. A surveillance image from a rooftop in Bahrain. Partial. A figure in civilian clothes, angle obscured by the satellite's position. Timestamp. 14 months ago, 48 hours before a unit that should not have been where it was ambushed, and 3 operators died in circumstances that were classified and closed and never adequately explained to the people who had lost them. Someone was on that rooftop. Someone is still out there. She studies the image. 4 in, hold 4. 4 out, hold 4. Tomorrow brings new ghosts to hunt. Every soldier carries a story that few ever hear. Listen with your heart. Thank you for staying and watching. Subscribe to MVP Stories for more.